Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, The Wealthy Mindset. It's yours truly, Money Making Mitch. And as usual guys, this is not financial advice. Please do your own due diligence and research. Well, this video, if my past videos did not solidify in your mind where this company is going to be in the future and how much money we'll make based on the research that I'm doing and putting out here, I truly believe this will be the video. Of course, the shorts will come on, the negative Nancy's, the trolls. I don't care about them. So, as they say, the shorts, it's a trash stock and that you should sell. France's third largest bank increased its stake in NEO up to 2.2 million shares. So they don't know what they're doing. These shorts need to go and tell them that it's a trash stock and they shouldn't buy. Other banks and establishments who previously sold shares in NEO are now buying back in. But why is that? So our Emperor William Lee, was showcased on Aljazeera. Yes, you heard that right. The news station Aljazeera. So coincidentally, we're getting ready to go into the Middle East, and Aljazeera is based in the Middle East. I believe they are funded by the Qatari government or something like that, and bringing more recognition yet again to who is NEO, what we're about, why are we different. You see, someone who had shares in McDonald's back in the day, when Burger King came out, they would have to say to themselves, what is Burger King doing differently? Sorry guys, that's a thunder. I don't know if you all heard it. It's storming over here. What is Burger King doing differently to want me to buy shares into Burger King and, diversify my portfolio? What are they doing differently? Are they going to steal a significant enough market share from McDonald's to want me to do this? So when NEO came onto the scene, this is how I was thinking. What is the market share they're going to steal from the other EV companies? And if so, how much and how big will this company be based on their business model? And what I have seen from my research and due diligence is this company is going to be the number one. We are going to even surpass BYD because of a lot of the things Emperor Lee outlined in that Al Jazeera interview. So let's start with this. Emperor Lee graduated with a degree in sociology in Peking, the most prestigious university in China. And he got into online information service after graduating online. Even though he went to school for sociology, he was flabbergasted by and really taken up by technology and how it can improve lives in the world. So perhaps he did not even know his true calling until he finished college. However, it just goes to show you, once you're a genius, like in the case of Jack Ma, you would not even have to go to college to make money as a businessman. I've seen it in my old country with this Indian family. They did not even finish elementary school, but they are the richest in the island. So anyway, he says, he made an incredible point. He said most people don't buy EVs because of climate. They buy EVs because of the technology. It's like driving a computer on wheels, and I've talked about that in the past. It's like the reason why people upgrade their phones, like with the Huawei and what have you, because of the technology. They are caught up by it and they want to keep upgrading and getting the best technology. So it's the same with EVs. Like with gas guzzling cars, people go for speed. They go for, of course, a reliable, dependable car. Some people buy muscle cars. But when it comes to EVs, the people who are going to win the race is the company, I should say, who's going to win the race and lead and continue to lead, is the company that's spending most on research and development to have the best technology. Flat screen TV, unlock the door with your car, tell the car to go and swap and it can do it on its own, etc., etc. Artificial intelligence. So he said that people will buy EVs due to tech, just like we buy cell phones based on tech. Also, he said Chinese brands were looked as cheap, inferior products. This is one of the questions that was asked. How are you getting over that hurdle? But NIO was able to battle this by hiring the best in the industry from China, Europe, and America. In fact, we have employees from 50 different countries. We took the best of the best of the best to make a dream team. Yes, we did. It's kind of like taking Lionel Messi from Argentina. It's like taking Jurgen Klinsmann, a young Jurgen Klinsmann from Germany. It's like taking Pelé from Brazil, a young Pelé from Brazil. It's like taking, well, you guys get the point. Paolo Maldini, that's the name I was trying to get. A young Paolo Maldini from Italy, forward defense. That's what we're doing, guys. So he reminded people that in the beginning, Korea and Japanese cars faced the same, right? They also had, I remember when Hyundai first came out, they were falling apart and they had to build up their reputation. But that's kind of different to us because we have a superior technology from day one. That is how amazing that is. Wrap your heads around that, guys. Toyota had to face the same thing when they came into the American market, into Europe. They were viewed as cheap, junk, small cars. Now they are the largest in the world. So he highlighted how good its tech has to be along with service, superior customer service. It has to be alongside. And remember, I spoke about that a lot here, guys. Superior customer service will keep the customers coming back to that brand. He highlighted how good its tech has to go along with service. So your brand builds its reputation on long-term vision. On a long-term vision. We're not looking at, how much cash we're burning right now because we're building something and we need to spend money in order to do that. It's just how businesses works for those who don't know. Global startup. He spoke about technological leadership. As important foundation, pointed out battery as a service is just as convenient as filling gas. And he talked about the customer experience. So in America, we don't have a choice. So most people are not buying EVs because of range anxiety, inferior customer service, etc., etc. But if those customers had choices like they do in Australia now where BYD is starting to outsell the competition, once people have a choice, they will choose the best. And not only choose the best, but it will encourage people to switch over from gas cars to EVs. He spoke about we're the first company to have swappable, upgradable, and chargeable. Something that Emperor Lee came up with himself. That was his vision. He wanted something that is chargeable and have more charging stations than any other EV company in China. He wanted something that was swappable, so you would kill time, range anxiety. Again, customer experience. So once they have that experience of, wow, I only had to wait less than 3 minutes, they will always want an EV. As opposed to people who are now waiting 20 and 30 minutes, they are not going back to an EV, especially when they have important things to do. And the most charging piles, like I said, of any other EV company in China. He spoke about the advantages of BAS in terms of constantly checking the health of the battery, which I spoke about in one of my recent videos where we see so many of those other brands catching fire. I'm not going to call any names. Tesla. Sorry, guys, allergies. So, but the biggest benefit, he said, is the upgrading aspect of it. Because a lot of people say, well, who cares about battery swapping? I can charge in my home overnight when I'm going to work in the morning. Yes, that is true. But range anxiety kicks in when you have to go beyond just your job. You're going from Shanghai to Hefei, like he was explaining. Do you want to wait 20 minutes? Do you want to wait another 20 minutes when you're halfway there, or 30 minutes? No, you don't. So that's where you upgrade. Genius. For that battery, that leading semi-solid state batteries that goes over 1,000 kilometers on one charge for just a small extra fee. You upgrade to that battery for the day or 2 days or however long you're going to be. Maybe you're visiting your family for the holidays, etc., etc. So he also said that we have the battery as a station factory in Hungary and how it will benefit the grid and already by selling back energy. So he spoke about how we're already selling back energy to the Europeans. I believe it's in Norway. And the Europeans are already way ahead of us even here in America with green energy, with solar, with wind. But how are you storing this energy in the nighttime? This is where battery swapping comes into play, my dear lads. So we are able to store the power that they generated during the day that was not used up, and it helps the grid yet again. So we're already selling back energy. If you don't have energy storage with batteries, the solar and wind in Europe will be wasted, he explained. He was talking about instead of bashing the Chinese government for slowing down climate change, it should be the model for world governments. So just because China is ahead of the game, you should, in just those industries, you can excel in other industries, but why try to bash them every time they try to innovate faster than you? Instead, adopt the same principle, give incentives to your car manufacturers instead of saying, well, it's illegal, it's wrong, like we see now the Biden administration did by giving, I think it was $1 billion plus to Stellantis or something like that, and putting out a lot of money for charging stations here in America. So governments need to do that in order to help slow climate change. So he said, if the experience is good, then people will buy into it, and that is why battery as a service will succeed. So if the experience is good for people, like we were talking about cutting down on the wait time, less than 3 minutes to swap your battery, a superior technological advanced EV that they get into like it's a computer. The passenger can watch TV, a movie while on the way there. You can unlock the car with your phone. You can send the car to swap while you're inside of your house, etc., etc. People will switch away from gas cars in a massive way. I think Norway is already 80 to 90% switched over. China is going to be so by 2030. And this is why people will buy into battery as a service, because of the experience. And we see how many battery swapping has already taken place. Once people tried it, it's like that beautiful drug. They don't want to stop doing it. But it's like the gym, I should say, not a beautiful drug. Sorry, guys. It's like the gym. Once you go to the gym and you get that serotonin flowing, you want to go back the next day, the next day, the next day. It's the same, right? So, sorry, guys. So I took notes for doing this video. He says China having the most open market in the world, which has spurred innovation. So by China saying to Mercedes, Audi, Tesla, GM, everyone, come in. Let my companies try to keep up with you. It has spurred such massive competition that they are innovating now at a massive rate. So the consumer are always getting an incredible technology. Just like with the phone industry, we see every year they're coming out with something new with the phone to try to attract the customer, and the same thing is happening. Sadly, we here in America are behind and will stay behind for many years to come if we don't have that competition. That's another reason why we need them to come here. He says we are still in the investment period. We're still building up battery swap stations. It's a business model that we're doing. We can excel quickly like BYD and the rest of them, but we're not doing that because the business model that we have is a business model where it's a perfect ecosystem where everything is combined and connected. And that's why we will steal the lion's share of the market going forward. Remember that. Coming up with the sub-brands, that's also using cash, right? We're coming out with Envo in September 10th. We're working on Firefly to release it next year. And all of the sub-brands which will push up into profitability in a massive and quick way. And also, all these cars now flooding in the Chinese market will be using all battery swap stations. Revenue. He said, in terms of Europe, we are gaining recognition by winning the Golden Steering Wheel Award, being showcased in the top car magazine over there in Europe. etc., etc. And we are still in the process of brand awareness. So the brand awareness is going to grow in Europe like that snowball effect that's happened in China now, where a massive amount of people have found out about us, and we saw our delivery skyrocketing, which we outsold Tesla last week in terms of the registration. You all will say, no, Tesla still had more registration than us. The price point to our EV compared to a Tesla told me that we outsold them last week. Yes, we have reached that pivotal point, and people did not realize it. That is how much we're selling now. So he spoke about Abu Dhabi deal, $3 billion plus, and that they are very far-sighted. Woohoo! Let me say that again. He said the Abu Dhabi boys are very far-sighted. So they are seeing way into the future, just like these banks, institutions like BlackRock, Vanguard, etc., Bridgewater and Associates have invested heavily into NIO, because they don't think like the wealthier instant gratification mindset where, well, I've been holding for 3 years, one of them said to me in the comments. He thinks that's long enough and he should have made a lot of money. Poor lad. Pull your pants up, boy. Be a man for once in your life. Understand what a business is, and then you're ready to make money. He says something we need, we will build local service networks out there in the Middle East and expand to the entire Middle East. As for the US, he says Tesla benefited just like Volkswagen, BMW, and Mercedes from support from China. So other markets should do the same. If not, they're going to fall behind in a massive way. And be in the dark ages yet again. He says not enough competition in the American market in order for them to innovate and catch up. China will soon reach 50% EV penetration. Norway is already 80 to 90% due to restrictions. The US does not have a good supply of products due to restrictions by 2030. So he said, due to restrictions, we don't have good products here, and that is true. I don't want a Hyundai hybrid, a Hyundai EV. I don't want a Tesla. I don't want whatever else they have here, Rivian. I'm going to pay $40,000, $50,000, $60,000, and then after 8 years, it's worthless. So we don't have superior products here. Even the Toyota hybrid, it's a good car, but BYD has proven that they now have a hybrid that makes that look like a joke for a cheaper price point. It can go over 1,000 kilometers on one tank of gas. So if they were allowed to come here, bet your last dollar, Toyota will have to try to also innovate to go past them. And this is where the consumer benefit. So how does the consumer benefit from having a NIO? So because of battery as a service, because your battery health is checked so your car and your house won't be burnt down, because you don't own the battery, so when you sell the car, you return you get back some money. It benefits the consumer as well as the company and the shareholder. It's a win-win for everyone, common prosperity. Due to restrictions, so by 2030, China will have 95% EVs on the road by 2030. How much of a market share do you think NIO will be taking? Allow me to make a calculated guess. We will have the lion's share, my fellow NIO lions and lionesses. He says Tesla been around for 20 years. This is what Emperor Lee said. And us, only 10. He said, so we are still growing. He says in 10 more years, we will be much stronger than we are now. So what has this reminded me of is when you look at a graph, and you look at a company graph, not a stock graph, a company graph, you look at where the company is at the point in time, and how far they have reached, and what are their plans to continue to grow for another 10 years. And if the graph is here, but you're still here, you don't sell your shares. This is how I invest. So I hope you guys found this video to be informational, inspirational, motivational yet again on a Monday morning to fire you up for the week. If so, guys, do not forget to hit that thumbs up. If you haven't yet subscribed, you might want to think about doing so, because like 50 said, we get rich or we die trying, guys.